now time to take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has blamed the killings of young #EndSARS protesters at the Lekki toll gate on what he called forces beyond our direct control, in quotes. Following the governor's imposition of a 24-hour curfew on the state a few hours earlier, soldiers had invaded the location and fired several rounds of bullets into the crowd of protesters who had camped out there for the past 2 weeks in protest against police brutality. There are reports that an unconfirmed number of persons were killed, while several others sustained various degrees of injury. In a series of tweets earlier this morning, Governor Sanwo-Olu described the tragic incident as, in quotes, dark notes in our history, and he said he would make a state broadcast on the development. According to him, quote, this is the toughest night of our lives as forces beyond our direct control have moved to make dark notes in our history, but we will face it and come out stronger. I've concluded visits to hospitals with victims of this unfortunate shooting incident at Lekki. It has taken me this long to make a statement because I have to prioritize the welfare of the victims of this very sad incident. There are currently 10 patients at the General Hospital, 11 at Reddington, and 4 at Vedic, with mild to moderate levels of injury, while 2 are receiving intensive medical care. 3 patients have been discharged and will continue to monitor and ensure all patients get the best care. End quote. Right now, we have Ozzy Okoli, a RISE correspondent in Lekki now, to give us a live update on the current situation. Good morning, Ozzy.
Good morning, Tundu. The situation of things here is very tense. We have been held here for a while. Even to drive through was very difficult because we saw certain hoodlums. They're the ones that set fire on this thing that has to do with barricade, where the police or traffic warden usually stay to control traffic. They were breaking down things, and then we were told to go back, that it would be difficult for us to continue because we want to get to the exact location of the toll gate. But we're still pushing hard, and we're trying to navigate our way, to the extent that some soldiers who were on ground told us that we need to go back. But for now, they've been able to drive away those hoodlums. These are not just protesters. These are not EndSARS protesters that came to put fire to these things here. I think mere looking at them and citing them, they are hoodlums. But we are still heading forward to see if it is still possible for us to talk to any of the soldiers and then have a word with them based on what is the situation of things on ground. You can see them. They are coming out now from wherever they are at the front. They are trying to stop the Jeep in front of us. And what they have been doing is, no, you cannot go through, go back, or not to go back. And if you look, there are so many blocks on the street, on the road. They are turning the Jeep back. They don't even want anyone to go through. But we being the media, I thought they would even give us a leeway. They kind of, okay, so come around, come and say things for yourself so that you report back to the public, for public to understand the fact that, look, things are under control. But they are not even giving us that opportunity. And this is, for me, is unacceptable because we need to report. We, being the conscience of the society, we have a duty to report what is happening and to ensure that everything is safe and sound. They are seated there now. Each time we want to move, they will tell us, no, we cannot. Maybe the driver can still advance a little. Let's even get close to where they are, and then let's see what is going to happen. That is exactly the situation of things around this area.
How heavy is the security presence around there? We can see on screen just a few soldiers manning a section of that axis. But yesterday there were reports about tankers, armored tanks being moved to that part of Lekki.
Yes, from the angle in which we are, we have not really crossed over to the other side where those things were reported. But somehow, they have somewhere that they've been hiding. Like, once you're approaching, you start seeing them, they start coming out. So you would just assume that they are not there. But somehow they are there. So we are still approaching, and then you see the bike man has been turned back, and then we are even trying to see if we can stop our recording so that we can approach them, because sometimes they have this understanding that once you point a camera at them, you are pointing a gun at them. I don't know where they got that kind of inspiration from, that once a camera has been pointed at them, then it is a gun. You see, they are still turning back all vehicles, so you cannot even go through.
But how about the hoodlums you referred to earlier? Any possibility of your being able to talk to any of the irate protesters or hoodlums around that axis?
Immediately the soldiers came around, they all ran away. Immediately the soldiers came around, they all ran away. They all left. Immediately, they all left.
From the studio to that Lekki area, what did you observe on the road? Are there other parts along the way where you have youths gathering and protesting still, or threatening mayhem?
The place is more like a ghost town. There are blocks all over the place, and these guys are occupying, and I'm not sure that they want to leave anytime soon. And on the road, there are a few blocks here and there that things that have been scattered the previous night that we're seeing this morning. And anybody that is moving or walking past, they will look at you very well and then tell you, okay, you can or you cannot. But for now, they've been waving us not to even come close to them. And we are still pushing hard to see if we can get to the other side of the divide.
Okay. Thank you very much, Uzi Okole. We'll remain in touch with you. And if there are any updates, please get in touch with us immediately so that we can inform the public properly.
It's the morning after several protesters were shot and killed at the Lekki toll gates in Lagos, with a number of others sustaining various degrees of injury. As we just discussed with Uzi Okole, he's on the scene there trying to ascertain exactly the lay of the land at this point. Your thoughts, Dr.
Well,
Abasi?
Black Tuesday, as it has been referred to, a very sad day for Nigeria. And, Twitter went on fire almost immediately, and there has been global outrage attending what happened in Lagos, particularly yesterday, and also in Abuja. The reports in the evening indicated that a detachment of soldiers went to that Lekki toll plaza, and the youths were there. Once they saw the soldiers, from the account that I read, they all sat down. Many of them were carrying the Nigerian flag, and they started singing the national anthem. But it was then reported that the soldiers opened fire on them. From the governor of Lagos State's own account, close to about 20 persons are in various hospitals, from the General Hospital to Reddington Hospital to Vedic Hospital. A lot more sustained injuries. Many lives have been lost. Families are in sorrow. At this time, Nigerians are talking about a country overtaken by sorrow, blood, and tears, as Fela, the inimitable Fela, put it in one of his albums. And it is very unfortunate. I think it's a very low moment for the Nigerian government to turn the guns on protesters, peaceful protesters. Whatever may have been the provocation, there are international standards for crowd control, for crowd dispersal. And I'm not aware of any established protocol or rules of engagement or procedure that says that when you want to disperse a group of protesters, then you use live bullets on them. What happened to rubber bullets? What happened to the usage of water cannon? But however, the Nigerian military is insisting that they had no hand in it. And the question to ask the Chief of Defense Staff and the Chief of Army Staff is that, are we back to the past of military brutality we've been talking about police brutality. Are we back to that season of the unknown soldier? You recall that in the early 80s, when any issue of this occurred, the military would say, oh, we don't know anything about it. And hence the unknown soldier, even before SARS, became very notorious in Nigeria. So it will be most unfortunate that this has happened, and I think that the Lagos State government has said that it will carry out an investigation. The military hierarchy, the federal government should also conduct an investigation. Because if you look at the various videos that have been shown, there were soldiers in camouflage.
Yes.
You know, they were shown shooting. And people have even shown the bullets that they picked, the shells of the bullets that they picked from the scene. And people have said, look, this is the kind of bullet that you use in open warfare, in the battlefield. Now, why would anybody engage innocent Nigerians, harmless Nigerians, people who are not bearing any arms or ammunition, and begin to gun them down? I mean, in other parts of the country where there was a very serious attack with, hoodlums carrying guns, carrying a machete, carrying wielding sticks, the military did not do anything to ensure the protection of protesters. The police did not protect the protesters. So what has happened really deserves the global outreach that has attended it. And I saw on Twitter yesterday, former Secretary of State of the United States, Mrs. Hillary Clinton, lending a voice of support and calling on the Buhari administration in Nigeria to stop killing innocent young protesters who are just demanding that their country should be governed differently and that there should be justice, fairness, and equity, and that the government of the day should put an end to the reign of impunity on the part of persons who are in uniform. Well, the big fear in Nigeria today is that this may escalate, and I hope that that does not happen, because if you look at the cost of this protest in the last 2 weeks alone, the country is almost virtually on its knees.
It's completely unnecessary that this has happened and gone on for so long. If the president had addressed Nigerians as he ought to have done, a lot of bloodshed would have been prevented. This attack on democracy, this brutal, barbaric overreaction that has cost people their lives and has people in hospital this morning should never have happened in a democracy. We're still in October. October 1st was our Independence Day, and we had our democratically elected president patting himself on the back for his democratic credentials, handing over peacefully when, Edo State election was lost by the ruling party. Electoral etiquette is not what makes you a Democrat. It is things like this: respecting the right of peaceful protest, addressing the concerns of protesters rather than dismissing them. If the president had come down from Mount Olympus and addressed the country, this would have been prevented, and that is a fact. Now, as for the denials by the governor of Lagos, I look forward to his state broadcast, which I expect to come at some point this morning. He needs to go a lot further than that vague, it was beyond my control. We need an explanation. He, especially for, posterity, needs to give a detailed explanation at whose behest was that curfew called. There are allegations that the streetlights were cut off. On whose instruction? We need to know all these details. There's nothing to suggest that the governor of Lagos would send military men out, or that he even can. Is that within his powers? We need details. The army as well, their vague denials are simply insufficient. We need to know exactly who ordered this, and that person or those people must be brought to justice. This is an absolute disgrace. It is so heartbreaking. I'm so triggered by this. We say that we're practicing democracy. What on earth is this? How do you call for a curfew with such short notice? Some people were probably stranded, sitting there on the bridge, waving flags. They were not waving guns, and you shoot them dead in cold blood.
Well, the Nigerian flag is blood-soaked. All over social media yesterday, there was that striking image of the Nigerian flag, which had been used to wrap the body of a gentleman who was shot and killed. And that blood-soaked Nigerian flag has become a painful reminder of the massacre that occurred yesterday at the Lekki toll gate. We may never eventually at any point know the number of casualties, the actual figures, because right from the scene of the attack, there were reports that the military, they were also taking the bodies away. And there are persons, we're told, who have also been arrested at the scene of that attack yesterday. Where those persons should not be subjected to any kind of brutalization, because the only thing they've done is trying to express their fundamental rights. Again, we should know the point about what happened yesterday at that Lekki toll plaza. It was a premeditated attack
Clearly.
On the protesters. Because
Clearly.
First, there were pictures of persons removing the CCTV cameras around the area.
Who did that?
Whoever ordered the removal of those CCTV cameras did not want whatever was being planned to be recorded. And then in the evening, the lights were put out. So the owners of that, the managers of that Lekki toll plaza, they definitely have questions to answer.
And before that, Dr. Batsi, I'm going to take you before that.
Yes.
You know I feel strongly about this. Anybody who slanders you can kill you. It's called character assassination for a reason. Before that, some kind of campaign of calumny had started against the protesters, making them, demonizing them, making them out to be criminals. Oh, it's the protesters that broke into the prison and set free the inmates. Protesters burned down police stations. When part of the 5 of 5 demands was police welfare, why on earth would they burn down police stations? So the first line of attack is to demonize them. And then this. Whoever demonizes you will eventually try to kill you.
You give a dog a bad name in order to hang
That's
it.
exactly right.
But in this case, they didn't just hang the dog, they slaughtered the dog. So after the killings had taken place, then miraculously, electricity was restored to the same location. So you remove the cameras, you put out the lights, you cause damage, and then you bring back the lights. And then, of course, the Lagos State government is not entirely innocent in this matter. It was foreseeable that people had gone to work yesterday, and that if we just announced curfew at 4 p.m., you had not given them enough time to be able to go.
They later extended it to 9 p.m.
Now,
How many people heard that?
They extended it to 9 p.m.
How many people heard that?
That was not well communicated.
Yes.
And then the attack at the Lekki toll plaza was actually
at
around
7.
Now, the curfew had not even started.
Exactly.
So there are so many questions.
Beyond our control does not cut it.
Well, Ozzy Okoli is ready again with an update from the Lekki toll plaza. Ozzy, any new updates?
All right, okay, so we are still here, and these mobile police guys are still insisting that we cannot move, we cannot go an inch. In fact, I moved half of where they are, and the next thing I heard from him is that if you come close, your body go tell you, these guys are too erratic. They don't care, they don't give a damn, and this is unacceptable, honestly speaking, because we have a duty to report the situation of things on ground here. Some people are stranded, they are on this side. If the cameraman can just pan right, yes, if you see them, they are stranded and they want to move to this other side, but they are not allowing them to go through. They don't even care, they don't even want to search them, they don't even want to check who is. So, and people are still insisting, so this is highly undemocratic. And these are people who don't have weapons.
We are protesting for the good.
So I'll be talking to one or two people here. Why are you guys here at the first instance?
We are
Why are you here?
for our right too. They are just killing us without anything, and we are protesting for their own benefit too. This is our country too bad now.
But from the protest so far, the governor has promised things that he's going to do. He has promised a lot of things. He has said that a panel is in place. He has said that there are millions of money that have been released. He has said that he's going to take care of so many other issues concerning this protest. So why is the protest still on at this moment?
They are promising us, but we are not seeing anything. We are not seeing anything that will help us. They are still killing us. We need Buhari to come outside to talk, to say that this is what is going to come and promise us. Buhari is not talking, nothing. We are just hearing all those things. We don't need any audio. We don't need any message. May come outside. We are fighting for our rights. See you people who they kill yesterday for toll gate here. See, this thing there.
Were you at the toll gate yesterday night?
Yeah, I'm here. Where they kill people here yesterday. We there here, all of us. Where they kill our people yesterday for toll gate. Very, very bad.
What is your name?
Gideon.
What?
Gideon Samuel.
Gideon Samuel. Where?
I was here yesterday. I witnessed everything. Can't see my appearance. I was here yesterday. I was just coming to the hospital this morning. My brother was shot yesterday. We are doing peaceful protest. Nobody was with harm. Nobody was with any harm here. We came here for peaceful protest. But they came there, all the army and the Mopo just came, started killing all of us without anything, just killing us, all of us. Is that how Nigerians behave? Is that how they want us to move forward? Is that how they want us to move forward with this country? How? Let our leader come outside. Buhari is dead.
So what happened to your brother?
He was shot. He was shot to his back. Direct bullet to his back. He's lying down in the hospital now.
What house?
He said, this hospital at this Ozuma, really, sorry, I've forgotten the name of the hospital, but I'm just coming down from there now. I'm just coming back from that place now. I'm even going home to go take his phone and take some clothes to him there as I instructed. Before the
scene of that yesterday when it started, how did you people respond?
Yesterday, everybody was sitting on the floor. Everybody was sitting on the floor raising their flag. Everybody was sitting on the floor raising their flag. Like exactly what I'm doing. Everybody was sitting on the floor just raising their flag, waving their flag. Nobody was with harm. Nobody was with harm. But they just came suddenly and started opening fire on everybody. Like you can see my voice now.
I need to find out something from you. Were they shooting into the air or were they shooting directly at you?
Sir, some were shooting directly and some were shooting flying bullets anyhow. Because definitely, no matter how they shoot, either air or no air, they know they must kill someone. They were just shooting at the up of the toll gate, shooting fly bullets, pouring tear gas, doing a lot of.
All right, so you have to tell us your name, who you are, and then before you start talking, what's your name?
Yeah, my name is Engineer Yusuf Olaonikpekun.
Engineer Yusuf Olaonikpekun.
Yeah. When those army came, they were shooting on the air. When they are coming very close to us, they started shooting. Everybody is on the floor. I'm one of the coordinators. So I told all the guys, everybody sit down on the floor. I'm the front.
Okay, you were at the front.
I'm at the front. I told everybody, sit down and hold your flag. Sit down on the floor. We didn't attack them. They are the one attacking us. They off all the street light. They off all the camera. And all the camera has been on for the past 2 weeks now. But yesterday they came, off all the camera, off all the street lights. And they are shooting.
So you were at the front line of the protest yesterday?
I'm on the front line. I'm the one organizing all the boys. Sit down on the floor. Sit down on the floor. Because when I'm taking some of the guys to General Hospital yesterday, I talked to one of the army. Let me pass here. Because I don't want us to pass here. So I have to go and meet him. Okay, this guy is dying. I'm taking this guy to General Hospital. Let me move out from here. And we drove out from here. We drove 2 hours here. The guy is in the General Hospital now. I took some to hospital here in Lekki, beside that Pinnacle.
Okay, so that's yesterday when you guys were on the front line. Will you say that the song that you guys were chanting, that how many students soldiers go kill, they will kill us tired. Do you think that song inspired them to do what they were doing, or they just felt they needed to do what they feel they needed to do?
That song did not mean anything. That song, what they came here to do is the order, the instruction they gave them.
From who?
We don't know. I didn't know. But I know they can't just come out and start shooting. Someone sent them here. I don't know, and I don't want to know. But I know it's the leader that sent them here to come and start shooting.
Okay, so as an eyewitness who was at the front line yesterday, when some people were shot, how did the soldiers react when they felt that the gunshot hit one of you guys protesting?
They are still continuing shooting. They didn't care. But when I went to the front and go and talk to one of them, that, okay, now, 2 people are down here now. Let me pass, because they don't want me to go. They don't want us, because Everybody told me to off my full light. I said I should not on the full light, so they will not see their face. I said they should off the full light. So I now follow here to General Hospital.
Okay, so now you guys are back today.
We are not back here today because we are just checking around. Maybe some people are down, or some people, there are somebody outside. We just want to check. If there is nobody down, fine. But if anybody here, we would take them to hospital. We are here for peace. So just to check. Maybe any of us yesterday are not on the street again. Because now, there's nothing we can do now.
So, is there any new line of action from you guys that have been protesting here?
Yeah, we can say that. We can say that. We know that on our mind. We can say that. Because if you say that now, that's the way they will attack us back.
Yes.
But we can say that.
Yes.
We can say that out now.
So from what we've heard so far, this is an eyewitness account of people who were here yesterday and who understood what happened. The last person that spoke said he was at the front line, and being on the front line means that he saw what happened live and direct.
We refer to soldiers, security men at that Lekki toll gate, but you now talked about mobile policemen. Is it a combination of soldiers and mobile policemen that we have there this morning, or just mobile policemen?
No, mostly, let's say they are anti-riot policemen. Then, to an extent, the camera was able to pan up where you have a very tall building. If you look at that building, there are military men positioned there up, and they are surveying the whole area. They're looking at us, and then they have duty to also ensure that if you are able to pass through the ones on land, while those that are on that elevated building may likely find a way to get across to you.
Well,
yes.
As your colleague, you and your crew should please keep safe. We'll remain in touch with you as you give us the update in that axis of Lagos. By the way, Tundu, I just saw a statement now by former Vice President Joe Biden, the Democrat presidential candidate in the United States. He is also calling on President Buhari. He says, I urge President Buhari and the Nigerian military to cease the violent crackdown on protesters in Nigeria, which has already resulted in several deaths. My heart goes out to all those who have lost a loved one in the violence. The United States must stand with Nigerians who are peacefully demonstrating for police reform and seeking an end to corruption in their democracy. I encourage the government to engage in a good faith dialogue with civil society to address these long-standing grievances and work together for a more just and inclusive Nigeria. Former U.S. Vice President Joe Biden there. Well, it's a very sad day.
It really is. And now it's just coming to us that there's soldiers stationed on top of Access Bank building. What are they doing there? Even what Ozzy Okoli just reported, Ozzy said if you're able to get past the soldiers barricading that road, the ones on the building will get to you. That's how he put it. Is he suggesting that there are snipers waiting to shoot people down?
Well, it looks like that. It looks like that. But we commiserate with all the families that have lost their loved ones. And I think it's also important to commend those organizations, families, churches, who yesterday, as that crisis began at that Lekki toll gate, some people were sending out messages that, look, if you are stranded in the Lekki area and you need a place to sleep, please come to so-so-so hall. One lady even offered to, accommodate people in her residence. So even in the midst of all that, impunity, brutality, tragedy, massacre, you still found, the milk of human kindness, other Nigerians coming to the rescue of their compatriots who found themselves on the firing line in front of soldiers who had been ordered to mow down innocent protesters.
Thank God for the indomitable Nigerian spirit.
Well,
that's all on the news headlines. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll have the trio of Rotus Adiri, Michael Wilson, and Adeswa Morwa to give us updates on Africa, global business, and COVID-19. Stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Our dependable Rotus Adiri is here to give us Africa Business Update.
Good morning, Tundu. Good morning, Doctor. Yeah, I mean, hey, the Africa Business Update is pretty much still focused on what's been going on. Well, I was very fortunate to get a friend sent drone footage of what took place. I think this was shot at about 6:45 p.m. Yesterday. He lives in Lekki Phase 1. So when the governor sent out the notice of the curfew, he sent out his drone, and I think we have that footage. That's the overview of what was going on. You can see, 20 seconds into the footage, they were actually, it shows people fleeing from phase 1. This was when the lights went out, when they were taken out. You can see vehicles surrounding the area. It tries to zoom in. They were now. You can see can you see those flashes there? Yeah. Now it wasn't sure whether those were camera shots or gun shots, because that was right in the cluster of where everybody was. The thing here is, how can tech keep governments accountable? Because there's so many different accounts of what has been going on. We saw the footage of the soldiers shooting in the air. You heard Ozi asking the folks that were he was talking to just now whether they were shooting directly at the people that were there or whether they were shooting in the air. The fallout from all this, though, as far as business is concerned, is that this is like taking us back to the lockdown during the pandemic, when nothing was able to actually move. You can actually think of what is going to happen with respect to prices of goods and services. It's pretty much, we're pretty much back to where we were earlier. But here, I mean, it's again, look at that. Everywhere is dark. This is where those vehicles now on the other side of the toll. Those flashing lights you can see at the top there. Those are the vehicles that were coming in, pretty much maybe from anti-riot police or the ones that brought in the soldiers. But curiously, remember, this is what everybody was talking about. Why were the lights knocked out when they arrived? Because everywhere was pretty much well lit. So this is as much, again, it pans out now. You can see the cluster of people in the middle there. But we essentially have to rely on images like this in order to try to get a feel for what's been going on. And it's at this point, with the doctor or yourself, Tundu, mentioned Hillary Clinton's tweet where she was calling. I think we also have that as well, where she was calling on the government. Okay, so there it is. That's the Hillary Clinton tweet. I'm calling on President Buhari and the army to stop killing young NSAS protesters. What this does, as far as security risk for investment, is that this holds up everything going forward, right? All eyes are now on the nation. It's not a good look for the country at all. And the president, as people have been calling on, has to make some kind of statement as quickly as possible. We were talking before we came on air. There's an alternate theory as to Governor Sanwo-Olu's calling of that, the curfew at 4 p.m. The alternate theory is that since his tweet said that forces beyond our control came in, the alternate theory is that he had nothing else to do but to call for a curfew to give people as much time as they could to get out of the area in order to try and absolve himself. It's all a mixed bag at this point. But we actually need as much, as far as extra footage is concerned, from drones and tech to try to get a record of what happened so the Nigerian people can get some closure on what's been going on.
Like I was saying before the show, I don't jump on social media bandwagons or lynch mobs. I'm not going to start calling for anybody's head based on hearsay. But there are questions that need to be answered. As far as the governor is concerned, Governor Sanwo-Olu, unfortunately, even in our democracy, it has happened where the military will open fire on unarmed Nigerians. And in those cases, I'm thinking of the Shiite massacre where over 300 people were killed. Nobody looked in askance to Governor Rufai, who was governor at that time. Right. Even Operation Python Dance, when IPOB members were massacred, nobody blamed Governor Piazzu. So we all recognize that there's a limitation to what a governor can do, even though he's the chief security officer of the country, even though this is meant to be a democracy, which is actually a disgrace, but that's a different story. But what I would expect Governor Sanwo-Olu to do at this point when he makes his address is not try and take one for the team. This is his name, this is his legacy on the line. Even if he's governor for 4 years, 8 years, at some point he will have to be a regular citizen of Nigeria. If he is not to blame for this, he cannot take the blame, he cannot take responsibility, he cannot shield those who are to blame, because people are pointing fingers at him. He must defend himself with facts and explain to the people that this was not my fault. Because even the Zaki Biam massacre that happened in Benue, the Odi massacre that happened as well, nobody ever thought, oh, it was the governor. We all know the military chain of command does not include the governor of the state. I would expect Governor Sanwo-Olu to say that explicitly and condemn that violence.
Well, first, to start with the point you made about technology, increasingly, whether it's the Orange Revolution or the Arab Spring or any other act of public protest that we've seen in the last decade, technology has continued to play a very major role. People now, we're in the age of the citizen journalist. With a phone, you can report facts as it occurs, as they occur, as events occur. And that your friend who sent out the drone was demonstrated that, look, this is not just about the regular media anymore. Anybody can sit in their homes and broadcast to the world. Now, in the last, since the incident occurred at the Lekki toll gate in Lagos, I've seen many journalists from BBC, from New York Times, from international media institutions asking that, look, Nigerians who have footages, video recordings of what happened, should make those recordings available so that they can use it. So it's not like, you have a country whereby the government says, oh, the traditional media, the regular journalists cannot go and report a particular story, and then you hide the truth about what is happening in your country. Technology now has become a major tool of democracy, and anybody, anywhere can report. However, as part of our attempt to move the country forward, I think Governor Sanwo-Olu, the minimum that he can do after imposing the curfew. By the way, it's not only Lagos that has imposed curfew. Other states have also imposed a curfew. We need to put out a statement there that persons on essential duties should be allowed. Look at Ozi, the agony that he's going through this morning, and he's a journalist. His job is to report. He cannot be stopped from doing so. He's discharging a constitutional function under Section 22 and Section 39 of the Constitution. But Tokumbo, our correspondent, is in Alausa, and he is filing in this report to bring us up to date from the Alausa Government Secretariat. Tokumbo Yetunji is on the ground at the Alausa, the Secretariat of the Lagos State Government. As soon as we're able to re-establish audio connection with him, he'll give us his updates. But I was talking about the need to recognize the right of journalists to move around. Yes. And I think that is important. Not just journalists, also people, health workers, who have done a great job. Some of the videos that I've seen yesterday, some hospitals in the Lekki area, they threw their doors open and they were helping to save lives. Such persons, when they move around, they should be allowed because human lives are involved. Now, Tokumbo Yetunji is ready now. Tokumbo Yetunji. Tokumbo, are you with us now?
Yes, Ruben, good morning. I'm with you now.
Yes.
Like I was saying, we're here at the Lagos-Ibadan, on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, the Alausa axis, where we've always been reporting from in the past days or so. We reported yesterday that some of the protesters have vowed to continue to protest on the street despite the curfew announced yesterday by the governor of this state, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. We've been here for the past 1 hour, and what we have observed is that a pocket of those protesters have been out on the street, actually setting up bonfire, on the road here. If we look down, in fact, just one about 100 meters away from me here was cleared by the police personnel who have been out here on the street. In fact, earlier in the day, they had to shoot a tear gas canister to dismantle some of those protesters who were mounting the road blockade here. some of the vehicles that have been moving outside of Lagos, are moving slowly. Some turning back because they are not sure of what is lying ahead for them. But the police officers, the police personnel here, who are just a few meters away from me, are clearing the bonfire that the protesters have set up here. And if you look around and on adjoining streets, there are still some of those protesters are still hanging there, thinking of what next to do to beat the policemen to the game here.
Well, but there is no threat of very serious violence in terms of confrontation, or you have observed that this morning?
No, not at all. Not at all. The only thing that the policemen here have done is to shoot, like I said, shoot a tear gas canister to actually chase away some of the protesters that were trying to mount a blockade on the expressway here. So we have not seen any act of violence so far. But we don't know if there could be any confrontation, as those protesters are trying to regroup again, probably come back on the road and mount another blockade.
Yeah, we can see people going up and down on the screen, and yet there is a curfew still in place. Are the policemen harassing anybody, asking them to get off the streets, or they just allow people as long as they are not violent in any manner?
That's right. They're allowing people easy passage here. Even our crew, when our van was moving down to this place, and some of the vehicles that were on the road were turning back, they actually just give us the opportunity to pass without any hassle. It's the same thing for people who are moving about their business, like you said, moving about that you're seeing. No police officers harassing anybody. The only thing they've been concerned about is clearing the bonfire and the blockade that the protesters have been trying to set up here.
Well, thank you very much, Tokunbo Yetunji. We'll keep in touch with you as we keep covering the situation in Lagos State. Well, we'll take a short break now. When we return, the morning show will continue. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. A few hours after Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu announced a statewide curfew with short notice, military personnel have been accused of firing on unarmed protesters. At least 5 persons have reportedly been killed. Protesters on the ground say they are surrounded by soldiers and fire, making it impossible for them to leave the streets. Arise News correspondent Adefemi Akinsanya reports.
This is somebody that survived. They shot the person's leg.
Gunfire rings in the air, bodies litter the ground. At midday on Tuesday, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu announced a statewide curfew starting at 4 p.m. Too little time for scores of protesters who are already on the streets to reach their homes. Pictures of men removing security cameras at the Lekki toll gate went viral on social media.
Everyone sit down, sit down, sit down.
Fear soon filled the streets, and as the sun went down, so did the street lights.
Look at Lagos, ladies and gentlemen, look at over there. Look at Lagos is on fire. They're blocked everywhere.
It was under that pitch darkness that bullets were fired, hitting protesters with very little opportunity to reach medical attention. On the ground, Lagos-based disc jockey DJ Switch went on Instagram Live. More than 120,000 people tuned in to see the carnage on the streets.
Look at this is the toll gate. Look at down that place. That place is on fire. They've put fire, so there is no coming in and no going out. Now look at the other side. Look at the other side. There's fire.
Here, protesters are using makeshift tools to extract a bullet from a protester's leg. Blood-soaked bodies, the wounded drawing what could be their last breaths. Trauma everywhere, peace nowhere, and night in Lagos like no other. Adefemi Akinsanya, Arise News.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Moving on now to more business updates. Michael Wilson joins us from London. Good morning, Mr. Wilson.
Good morning. Good morning. Asian markets fairly flat today. Basically, not a huge amount happening, but you have to look at Cathay Pacific. That was a big riser as far as the Chinese Stock Exchange was concerned. They're laying off thousands of staff, and they're also reorganizing the way that they actually have their smaller airline, Cathay Dragon, which is now ceasing to exist. So that was quite a good way forward, really, for Cathay stocks, and they rose as the company begins to restructure itself. As far as the United States is concerned, again, one of those days where people are actually waiting for the stimulus package. It looks as though things might be very slightly closer there, but I don't think they are. I think that things are a long way away from getting together, but you never know, there might be something coming up, and that sort of helped stocks, really, in the United States. As far as the UK is concerned, first of all, no real advance as far as the Brexit talks are concerned, or indeed the trade talks with the European Union. There have been considerable problems along the line, as we know about this, and nothing really is bringing those two things together. Inflation numbers in the UK now slightly increased, 0.5% for last month, which is actually showing that remember we had the eat out package, which was into restaurants and so on. That sort of helped, and that dropped food prices slightly, but again, no huge amount of uptick as far as inflation's concerned. Still a huge amount of money, of course, being spent to keep the public purse going for unemployment schemes and all the rest of its stimulus packages. There are billions of pounds involved, if not trillions, but the fact is that given every government around the world is continuing to do that, then not a lot of problem there. They are huge figures, but they're fairly meaningless given that we're going to go into further lockdowns in this country. National lockdown, I think, still a long way away, but there's been a considerable amount of discussion about some of the larger urban areas which are being forced to lock down. The debate that's happening here, and I think it may be happening with you as well, the riots apart, is that people are saying, well, it's not just a polar debate between health and the economy. What we're looking at here is the fact that, if people aren't feeling well, then the economy won't be doing well. And if the economy's not doing well, people won't be feeling well. So there's a general feeling of unease about that. Again, very much uncharted territory. And commodities basically flat. As I told you yesterday, oil not doing very well because of feeling that demand's already been met. Gold still within a very, very tight range, might break through that. But that's basically the global view. Very good morning to you.
Good morning, Michael. Well, we are having very serious issues here in Nigeria with the attack on protesters in Lagos. But I would like you to maybe comment on Google, the antitrust case that Google is facing with the Department of Justice, which is said to be another watershed. Yes, please go ahead.
This is a continuing narrative from the United States, isn't it? This is the most serious thing that Google have faced so far. And their defense is as it's always been. And I think it's a fairly strong defense. You don't have to use Google. People use Google because they choose to. They're not being they're not being forced to do it. And that will be Google's defense. I think, though, this is part of the landscape now. The likes of Facebook, the likes of Google and the rest of them are actually having to become, they're not just sort of little search engines on your computer. They have an enormous amount of data about us all. And I think that's the danger of them. That's the strength of them. And we're going to see a lot of discussion like this. But this is the most serious thing to hit Google since its inception not that long ago.
And it needs to continue. I mean, there are alternatives if you're looking for a search engine that's not nosy in nature, which I will not name. Everybody should do their own research. Not every search engine stores your information. But I wanted to go back to the stimulus package. I'm so surprised that President Trump has dropped the ball on this one, because it does appear that it's too late to get it passed before the elections. I would have thought he would like Americans to get a nice, large check, $1,200, right, with his signature on it before going to the polls, but alas.
Yeah. I would have thought so too, and I don't really distinguish between which side of the house you actually come from as far as that's concerned. If I'd been a Democrat going to meet my voters, I'd be wanting to say to them during that big debate about the stimulus, I took it as far as I could, and it doesn't seem anybody's doing that. I do find it difficult to understand. I found it difficult to understand, as I think most outside observers have for the past 2 or 3 months whilst they've been going towards this. I thought the idea was to get a package delivered before the election on November the 3rd, which we're still waiting for. And you know, you can understand that, can't you? This is what we as politicians, as administrators, have actually done, and they haven't done that at all. And what's been holding them off from all that, I feel, is the fact that, you know, the unemployment figures have not been painting a terrible picture about the United States. It's been bad, there's no question about that, but it hasn't been that kind of disaster. And therefore politicians are saying, well, look, you know, there are other things that we actually need to do rather than just have a stimulus package, this helicopter money and the rest of it, which is extremely expensive. Personally, I think the rates have never been lower. Now would be an absolutely perfect time to try to stoke the economy with a bit of spending. But people, again, aren't spending because they're very worried about the kind of jobs that they may or may not have when all this is over, or at least contained. That's the difficult thing.
Well, Mayor Andy Bonham, the mayor of Greater Manchester, is said to be at war with Downing Street. He's talking about a winter of real hardship on account of the Tier 3 restrictions in Greater Manchester and other places. Business owners are saying government should explain the science behind the 3-tier restrictions. Where exactly is the problem? Is it that people just want to enjoy Christmas, or Downing Street is not doing enough in terms of communicating the risks that people face?
I think that you are right on all those counts. I think people do want to enjoy Christmas because it's always been a holiday. It's a traditional holiday, as it is with you, no doubt. And I'm sure you're feeling the same. It's a time when you want to have your family and loved ones around you. And it looks like for many places in the United Kingdom and in other places around the world, in France, in Europe and so on, this may not happen. So that's number one. Number two, the science, the so-called science. I'm wondering about that. And I think most people are. What you've got here is a group of scientists who are, as I keep saying, are civil servants. They're not involved in private business. Their jobs will be safe, whatever happens. And what they're doing is none of them wants to be wrong. The problem is that politicians aren't experts in their fields. Of course they aren't. They're people who, I mean, journalists, you know, you and I have done this throughout our working lives. You meet people, they do complicate what they do. They use their own kind of language, and you have to somehow decipher that and make it simple. And that's the hardest job in the world. And I think this is what's happening. It's not just happening in the UK, but you asked me about the UK. That's what I know most about. And you see this kind of, you see conflicting advice from so-called scientists, so-called experts. And, you know, you have to take notice of what these people say. But if you're brave and a politician, you say, all right, I've got all that on board. This is what we're actually going to do. It doesn't help to find that many people are now saying, so let the herd, this is never going to be cured. This is never going to go away. Vaccines themselves will take a long time to develop. So therefore, why don't we encourage this thing called herd immunity? We've been suffering from flu every Christmas for over 150 years. There's never been a cure for it. What we do is we try to mitigate it. We try to live with it. We try to be careful. That may be the way ahead, but it's not a very strong political message. And it would take a very brave politician to say, you know what, right now, we're not going to do anything, or we're not going to take on board what the experts say, and we're going to allow a few people to become ill, maybe older people to come ill, maybe younger people to get some sense of immunity. As I've told you before, my mother used to send me to school to catch measles, mumps, German measles, because that's what you did. You caught it from your friends. You had a few weeks in bed, very nice too, I have to say, you didn't have to go to school, and then you were protected from it from the rest of your life. That's life. That's what goes on.
Well, thank you very much, Michael Wilson. We'll see you again tomorrow morning. Thank you. Well, we're now joined Ozzy Okole, who is now around the Lekki Bridge for further updates on the situation in the city of Lagos. Ozzy?
Okay, so I'm standing on Falomo Road, the road that leads to Falomo, and the same road, if you get to the roundabout, it leads to from my left, it leads to the Ikoyi Link Bridge. Now, this is the Bodilon area. Where I'm standing, it is very, very obvious that a lot of things have happened here all through. You can still see smoke around here, the burning of tires. It shows that people are still interested in continuing the protest. And why we couldn't approach the policemen here and also advance to the bridge is that they were not also welcoming. They are insisting that we need to get into our vehicle and then leave this place. But we still insisted that we owe the public a duty to report. So as it is now, they don't want anyone to even come close to the bridge, even to assess the bridge. So as it stands, there are other people who are at my back there, and then there are some others who are also trying to assess the bridge, but they are saying no to them. So as it stands, the situation here is that it is a no-go area. Nobody should come around, no matter who you are or what you stand for. But there is a vehicle which is now approaching them, and we want to see how they are going to react, because it seems as the vehicle is a diplomatic vehicle because of the plate number. You can see the directive being given by the mobile police officers, and they're saying they should move back. Here, I think what we have here are mobile policemen, not the military. So they are turning him back. There's also an ambulance approaching the link bridge. I don't know if he's going towards that side, if they are going to allow him to go through. But as it stands now, the diplomatic Jeep, the SUV is being turned back, so he's going back. But they are allowing the ambulance to move. So the way they are doing their job, even on the bridge side, if we can come closer, going closer, you see people on the bridge still protesting. A lot of them are on the bridge there. A lot of them are still there, but they cannot come towards this side. They cannot come towards this side because the police are saying that they cannot move an inch. So in fact, as I'm talking, they are still warning me that I should leave this place. But we owe the public the duty to report. Now, he's trying to turn his back on us, because each time we want to film them, they will turn their back on us. Now, on this bridge, we have people who are still protesting. They are standing on the bridge and they don't want to leave. Some probably they want to cross over to this side and they are not allowing them. So that is the situation of things here at that roundabout.
Well, but I could see some persons standing about 200 meters away from you. Are they protesters, or those ones are spectators on this other side of the road where you are standing?
The ones on the bridge, they have, from my own assessment, they have two things to do. One, either they want to cross over to the other side, or they are part of those who are protesting, because they are kneeling down and some are raising up their hands and saying that, look, we are different. We are very, very different. They are now approaching us to tell us to move away from here. So, and we go. But as you can see, the bridge has been cordoned off somehow to an extent. The mobile police guys, they are in charge. But the people that are on the bridge, they are still insisting. They are even shouting at them that they want to go. They want to have their say. They want to move around. They want to live where they are. Now, the policeman is approaching them. They are approaching them now, but some of them are still there. And they are trying to drive them away. But they are still standing. Now they are moving gradually. They are moving away gradually.
Well, Ozzy, isn't there a toll gate on that bridge?
It seems that they are stuck.
Ozzy?
Well, for now, we cannot really assess the toll gates from the angle in which we are, because anything that will make us move closer definitely will be in a confrontation with
do not
the
attempt
policemen. So we are trying to see if we can move closer. If we can move
But there
closer.
was a report yesterday that the protesters were hemmed in, that they were barricaded on either side of the bridge and stuck in between. And this report that you're giving, we can see the protesters on the bridge. Are you aware of any updates to that? Is it that they cannot get off the bridge on the other side as well?
The police are making it very difficult for us to really talk to them and get the exact thing that they want. If they are insisting on the protest, or they just want to cross over to the other side and just go on with their daily activities or wherever they want to go to. But they are just saying that we cannot go close, we cannot come close. That's just the situation of things. I wish we can get so close to them, but because we are all trying to keep our distances. And though the policemen around here, the mobile police rather, they are quite different from the one at the Ikoyi Link Bridge, because these ones seem a little bit friendly to an extent. But the other place that we were coming from, they don't even want to hear you. They just want you to go back. But these ones are very, very organized somehow.
But would they allow you to talk to those guys that are just behind you?
Yes, I have someone who even approached them, who I want to find out why he was trying to get to the bridge. You tell us your name.
Sorry, my name is Yemi Aliu. I live in Ogudu. I came here all the way from Ogudu. You understand? Because what I saw yesterday was genocide from the part of the government. You understand? What I saw yesterday was a genocide. So nobody, no reasonable Nigerian.
So they are telling us to move away so that so many people will not come close to us, that we should leave the spot and and then we'll move away. They are approaching us now. They want a situation where the people who harass us should just go away.
So, and they're also saying that you cannot, as a reporter, interview anybody?
No, they are saying that we are the ones giving them the courage to approach them. But I'm trying to tell them that we are not. We are just doing our job. We are not giving anybody courage to come close to you. We cannot do that. We all have our parameters. All right. We are not making trouble. We just want to report. We just want to report
because of you that are making noise.
No, we have told them to move away, but all we just want is what is the situation of things here. Just tell us the situation.
You have seen it.
Who is the PRO here? Who can we talk to?
I don't have PRO. Why are you putting? Please don't do that.
We just want what is the situation of things.
I just want you to leave this place.
But the Nigerian public wants to know what is happening.
Go and ask PPRO.
So who is the PPRO? Is it the one in Abuja?
That one.
No, but the PPRO is not on ground here, so he how? There's still a lot of people who are stuck here, who says that they are going home, but they are telling them that they cannot go through because the whole place is barricaded, you know.
Wow. What a day to be
So
alive.
that is the situation of things here at the moment. And I think a lot of people just want to move from one place to another.
As is their right to do.
Over to you, Dr. Barty.
Yes, thank you very much, Sanwo-Olu. We'll keep in touch with you, and we'll keep monitoring the situation in the city of Lagos. But we just hope that there will be no further outbreak of violence on the part of the uniformed officials. Tundun, we live truly in interesting times.
Like that Chinese curse.
Yes, it's like the past all over again.
Yes, I'm so triggered. Yeah. I really am. It's all too familiar.
The last time I saw this was during the protests against military brutality in those days. And all of a sudden,
here we are again.
Back to the season of unknown soldiers. Wow. Well, let's move on. We'll keep in touch with Sanwo-Olu and Tokunbo Oyetunji.
So do we have our update now on COVID-19 with Adeswa Omoran? Adeswa, are you with us? It appears that she's not. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with Adeswa Omoran. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. As protests continue across the nation, the Nigerian Senate is urging President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately address the nation on reforms being embarked upon to end police brutality. Senators also want Buhari to dialogue with the #EndSARS protesters, but say if that fails, lawful measures must be taken to restore sanity on the streets. Arise News political editor Sumner Samdos tells us more.
Senators are worried about the dimensions that the EndSARS protests are taking across the nation, with violent clashes between factions leading to jailbreak, cars being burnt, property being destroyed, and some deaths being recorded. Following a motion by Senator Biodun Olujimi, the lawmakers want President Muhammadu Buhari to immediately address the nation on the protests and demand for good governance, while they say that the National Assembly is now ready for a comprehensive reform of the Nigerian police.
Accepts that as political leaders, we must take responsibility of protecting, providing succor, and guiding our youth. We therefore must address the issues.
My own children are in the streets of the U.S. participating in this EndSARS protest. But I can tell you, Mr. President, I am not sure that my kids are in support of those who have hijacked this protest to go release prisoners.
I think that part of what is going to resolve this issue with immediacy is for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to look at the issues, address the nation on them.
Other senators are asking for urgent dialogue with the EndSARS protesters by the Nigerian government, failure of which lawful measures should be employed to keep protesters off the streets.
Dialogue should be used to get the youth to suspend the EndSARS protest. Where dialogue fails, then we should use whatever means is possible to end it. Otherwise, it will lead to anarchy.
Prayer 5 urged the Nigerian youth and the Nigerian citizens to approach the National Assembly committees on constitutional reforms in order to secure far-reaching and holistic amendments. We are having demonstrations today because of EndSARS. What are those things, apart from EndSARS, that really make life a little bit difficult and tough for our youth particularly? We should address.
Police, that is at the center of it, must be reformed 360 degrees. If all policemen wear body cameras, we will not have a situation where anyone will brutalize anybody.
The Senate also resolved that henceforth, all protests across the country must be accompanied by policemen. The Senate also wants all EndSARS protesters to call off the protests across the country so as to give the government more opportunity to meet their demands. Sumner Sambo, Arise News.
Well, so much for the so-called rubber stamp National Assembly. The senators are also making the same call as other Nigerian citizens. It's time for the president, well, it's even past time for the president to address the nation on this issue.
Well, but still, I mean, with the country in turmoil, with businesses shut down, with lives lost, buildings destroyed in various parts of the country, many of the states in the southern part of the country having a curfew imposed, there is an emergency, clearly, in the country. And it will amount to an act of contempt against the Nigerian people for the president to continue to remain silent. We have reached a situation now where the president himself must step forward and say something and give very clear directives. Those clear directives will include a presidential directive that nobody going forward should turn the gun on Nigerians. Because these Nigerians, they are the employers of everybody in uniform and in the corridors of power. And to have your own employees, people who claim to be representing you, people who are maintained with taxpayers' funds, killing, ordinary Nigerians innocent Nigerians who have not committed any offense. And even if they've committed any offense, they cannot be killed extrajudicially. So this is where the problem is. And that's one way in which I believe the president can restore sanity on the streets. Because whatever silence we may see on the streets today may as well be the silence of the graveyard. Because the protesters, after those killings at the Lekki Toll Plaza yesterday, are saying that a day of reckoning will still come and things could spiral out of control. And the best way to handle the situation is not to continue to kill people or for policemen or soldiers. The soldiers, we have unknown soldiers. Whoever those unknown soldiers are, they should be identified. Luckily, we're in the age of technology, and Rotus earlier on brought up the point about technology. You could see the faces of some of those people, right? So it's for the military authorities to carry out an investigation. The president had said there will be investigation. He needs to reassure the people of Nigeria.
We demand one. This is completely unacceptable.
As for the Senate also joining other Nigerians, well, you know, the senators themselves, they are parents, they are Nigerians. As I said previously on this program, there's nobody that is not involved in this matter. So we cannot have institutions of state going to war against the people of Nigeria. That is the big thing that the president needs to worry about, particularly now that the international community is beaming its searchlight again on Nigeria. Former Vice President Joe Biden has spoken. Hillary Clinton has spoken. The U.S. Embassy has shut down their consulate in Nigeria. It's very bad for the image of Nigeria. And of course, well, we'll keep saying what we need to say. We have another VT, I understand. The Speaker of the House of Representatives says the House will not sign off the 2021 budget without adequate provision for the compensation of victims of police brutality, the welfare of police officers, and resolution of the ASU stalemate. Arise correspondent Punariman Feintola tells us more.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives during the commencement of plenary says 2 weeks from now, the House will receive and immediately begin to consider legislation that seeks to establish a system of independent, responsive accountability in the police.
I will not sign off on a budget that does not meet the reasonable demands of the ASU, to which government has already acceded. There is no better time to rethink the system of funding for higher education in Nigeria. The current system does a great disservice to our children and our country, and we must commit to changing it so that we can free our institutions of higher learning to be citadels where innovation thrives and excellence is a given. With my colleagues in the House of Representatives, I will visit over the next week some of the families of those who have lost loved ones to police brutality. And when we come back, we will work together to honor the memory of those who we have lost.
According to the Speaker, the House will ensure that officers who engage in unauthorized unlawful use of force are expelled from office and subject to the full penalty of the law.
Disturbed that the protest may be taking a dangerous political dimension, which could be inimical to the country's democratic process. Also disturbed that the protests are being hijacked by hoodlums and other unpatriotic Nigerians, as there have been reports of break-ins at a medium-security correctional center along Sapele Road in Benin and burning of police stations all in Edo State.
Some lawmakers during deliberation called for dialogue with the EndSARS protesters to understand their concerns and ensure an end to the protest.
I want to submit that I do align myself with the call to end police brutality. I also think that we have governance issues that need to be addressed. However, I think that as a responsible parliament, we need to get involved. We need to bring the real people that are behind these agitations and sit around the table and speak face to the issues that are burning.
For about a fortnight now, Nigerian youth have been protesting across the country, demanding the disbandment of the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, on human rights abuses and police brutality. Punarman Feintola, Arise News.
And now, Dr. Abati, we're going to review today's newspapers without the assistance of Mr. Emmanuel Efeni. I'll do my best again. This day, the cover. Well, we now have live visuals on the Lekki Bridge. Lekki-Ikoyi Bridge. We've been allowed to pass. If you recall, our earlier visuals were of the police forming some sort of a blockade and preventing people from accessing the bridge. But now we're on the bridge and we're able to see. There's no sign of any protesters. It's completely deserted.
Hello, Ozzy? Ozzy Okoli? Ozzy Okoli is the Arise News correspondent on the ground there. Earlier on, he told us about having difficulties with his crew getting to this point on that Lekki-Ikoyi link bridge. Well, you know, I was asking him about this, toll plaza earlier on because there were reports that it was burned down. Ozzy?
This is Lekki-Ikoyi link bridge where was burnt. If you can hear me rightly and correctly, all these were set on fire yesterday. We are here right now, and things here are not looking good at all. Even the air condition, everything is down. There are broken glasses, bottles all over the place. Even the barricade has been destroyed. This is as a result of the clash yesterday night.
Well, an especially difficult year for Nigeria and Nigerians. The COVID-19 pandemic resulted in a lot of losses, economically, socially, and now you have this, lockdown in Nigeria as a result of protests. The Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, LCCI, reported that about 700 billion naira was lost, or was the cost within 12 days of the protest. But the bigger loss, of course, is the loss of properties, damage, the collapse of public order, and the loss of lives.
So many lives.
Young persons with a lot of promise who have just been wasted needlessly. Ozzy Okoli, be careful there. I see a lot of broken glass on the ground.
Yes, from a very normal day where vehicles usually drive from Ikoyi heading to Lekki, they will pass through this place. And then in passing through this place, they will be told you will pay, and then you will move ahead. There used to be someone here that will be attending to those commuters, those inside the vehicle that are driving. But now you can see broken glasses all over the place. The place was set on fire. Everywhere is like a ghost town here. Everything here has been vandalized. The fire here is to the extreme because even the wall, the thickness, the construction, the cables, everything. Right now, there is still another fire that is burning. This fire is very, very recent. And so once you are approaching the Lekki link bridge, that's the Ikoyi link bridge, once you've passed it, you are heading towards Lekki. In fact, you are in Lekki already. Now, there are people who are still vandalizing things around this place. They are throwing things. These are basically hoodlums. You can see the smoke, the fire, the way it is going on. And it's going higher and higher. So this is fresh. I think the law enforcement authorities need to be here so that they can put to rest some of the things here. Because while we were coming, that roundabout that we passed, where we have those policemen that spoke to us, they were advising us not to come to this place, that it is very, very risky, that they don't know what is going to happen to us. But as it stands now, I think they also need to mobilize and come down to this place so that fire will not continue to raise from one place to another, because it seems as if it's a free day around this area now. Though we are still on the bridge and we are still moving towards them to see if we can talk to somebody concerning this incident that is happening at the moment.
Well, but just earlier on, Uzi Okole, you had told us that you had issues with the policemen by the foot of the that link bridge. How did you negotiate your way through? Because it looks like they finally allowed you to go do your job as a journalist.
No, the one that is close to the Oriental Hotel is quite different from the other one that we have to pass through. This one is... So this one is the one that is around the Bodilon area.
Yes, it's the same place I'm talking about, because earlier
it's quite
on,
different from the one that is on the land.
I know. Earlier on, the policemen were trying to drive you and some of the people away.
Yes. After, one of them just approached us and was saying that, look, we are trying to protect everybody, including us that are reporting. And I said, okay, we are working together. And in working together, we also need to report what you're doing, that you're doing it well. So he said, okay, no problem, that we should approach the DPO that is on ground. So we went to meet him, and after we talked, we said all we needed to do is just to establish the fact that something is happening here, and it is to the benefit of all and sundry. So he said, okay, that we can go, but we should be careful, based on the fact that there are so many things that are happening there, that as at yesterday, certain news channel was attacked when they came to that point. So we said our job is to report. Our job is to ensure that we report exactly what we're seeing, the way those things are happening. So, and that is what we're doing at the moment. This fire is going on, and you can see they are breaking even so many things here. These boys are attacked. They are destroying everything around here. Security enforcement agents need to come around. There is nobody here. They are setting everywhere on fire. This is absolutely not NSAS protest at the moment.
These are criminals on a rampage.
With the presence of the security people.
Well, by the
way, I think these are hoodlums. These are few boys who are doing what they are not supposed to be doing.
By the way, Ozzy, we have an update on your earlier report about some soldiers taking position, sniper-like positions at the top floor of Access Bank, I think you said then. But we have a message here from the management of Access Bank saying that this is to inform us all that there are no third-party persons in any of our locations. Access Towers, Contact Center, Oniru Lekki 1 branch, and PGD Place. In other words, no soldier entered our premises, let alone gain entrance to the 14th floor. I have triple confirmed the information, and we currently have a detachment of mobile police officers in both the towers and PGD Place. However, there is a new building a block away from PGD that looks like ours, just completed, overlooking the toll gate, which is the most probable place these soldiers may have occupied. So that's an update from Access Bank management, reassuring everyone that there are no snipers on top of their buildings. Over to you, Ozzy.
Okay, so So these are buildings from Admiralty Way in Lekki. These buildings are around Admiralty Way roundabout. On my left, they are burning things here, and then they are going all over the place. Okay. So the guys here, they are on ground. They are insisting based on protest. And so many things are happening around this place right now. There is still burning all over the place around this Admiralty Way, especially the road leading to Victoria Island. There is a truck on fire. There's a truck on fire this side. There's so many burning going on around here. Now, see. Now, this roundabout is deserted at the moment because on a good day, there are traffic activities here. People are moving from one place to another. There's always a traffic jam around here, but at the moment, it is deserted. There's a lot of burning. There's a lot of things going on. And then, this is Lekki Concession Company Limited Operation Office.
So there are cars in the car park that are
at the moment, they are burning cars here. You can see they are setting up everything on fire. This is the vehicle for operation. This is another car here that is parked behind me. And it is burning. It is burning at the moment, you know.
Ozzy, be careful there. Be careful.
All right. Don't. Okay, now they are even attacking anything that has to do with SUV, as long as you are highly placed and you're driving this kind of car, they will attack you. So the anger here is high. This is the Victoria Island Road, and people are still on the street here. Admiralty Way, they are protesting, they are burning things. Yeah, Admiralty Way.
You know, yesterday,
the Admiralty Way is on fire right now.
You know, yesterday,
Admiralty Way is on fire.
You know, yesterday, that Admiralty Way, some banks were also set ablaze. Shops were looted. Is it possible to talk to one of those boys there to find out what exactly their anger is all about, and in spite of the police presence on the roads?
So, can we know your name?
Yes, I'm Ahmed.
You are?
Moses, by name.
Ahmed Moses?
Yes, by name.
Okay.
Yes,
so, what exactly is happening?
What happened is that when they released the soldier yesterday, things guys not smart. They start killing our people. Actually, we don't have any option to do that to verse for streets. So we got to damage us things like that, so that may affect the government. Actually, we are not happy, seriously. You
said they killed somebody yesterday.
They killed our niggas yesterday.
Who? Do you know them?
Soldiers in the process, soldiers. They send soldiers to us at targets. Innocent people that doesn't know what is happening. They kill them, actually. So we are best like this, seriously. We need to scatter some things around.
Okay, so this scattering things around, is it part of the protest?
No, it's not. It's part of the anger. They kill our people. Yeah, it's not part of the process. It's part of the anger that we've been through that yesterday. Seriously, we not sleep yesterday. Our niggas, our friends and family must kill. Right now, as I'm talking to you, presently, we have an hospital at front here, which is our guys, everybody at hospital, nobody to attend to them. Most of people die like this.
How many of them are at the hospital?
There are more than 10 in number.
Oh, we
don't know the others.
They are too much.
They are much in number.
What was their injuries?
The guns, bullets.
Some are unconscious.
Some unconscious. They killed them. Some are dead already, presently.
Yes, okay, so you tell us your name.
Yeah, my name is Ayinla. I'm a swimmer. I work as a lifeguard. Yesterday, these people come with 6 convoy and almost 2 Amosang. They started shooting everybody. Shooting ceaselessly. In my front, in my presence, 3 people were down. 1 person was injured at leg. I have to rescue the guy to take it at the back. Bullets passed my head, through my head. It's God that saved me throughout yesterday. The soldiers saw that I hide. Then I now have to go back at this Oriental hotel. We were 3, we just like stand up. They shoot 2 guys, 1, 2 at once. The next thing is that I have him that they are going to shoot me, but because I'm a swimmer, I can swim very well. I dive inside the water. And upon that, I dive inside the water. They still spray the water again, like almost 7 bullets. If it was not God, and if it was not that I'm a very professional swimmer, I wouldn't have alive up to now. I swim from Gere Oriental Hotel. I swim and come and bust out at this place, Lekki Toll Gate. That was how my life was saved yesterday. It wasn't that I can able to swim. What have we done to these people? We were demanding our rights. We have not done anything wrong for them. What we need is that we're demanding our rights. And we vote for you people. We vote for you people, not for us to serve you. It's for you to serve us.
Okay, so this hospital where they took some of your guys to, where exactly is this hospital? What's it?
Yeah, I already seen hospital here, along this Admiralty way. Along this Admiralty way.
When they came at first, they sent away the ambulance. Ambulance came, they sent ambulance away. No, that's crazy.
Yes, for rescue. They sent
because I work with the stage at the.
Your name?
Samo.
Samuel.
Yeah, I'm Samuel Ame. No, so just started about maybe 6 or something. They came around and we're like trying to sit down on the floor, like to make everything get seats on them, like to make everything get lit on them, you know. So they started shooting. We were on our flag. They still point the gun at us before they started shooting. They killed someone on the stage, you know. Not fair, honestly, it's not fair. It's not fair, honestly, it's not fair, you know, it's not fair. You see, you just caught, no.
Come make the interview.
Leave on.
Let's talk to you.
Guys, relax now. We get together now. You tell me. Relax now, but we get together.
Hello.
Ozi, what's happening there?
Oh yeah, let's go. I think they are telling us that we need to leave here.
I see. But is it possible for you to visit the hospital if it's...
Wait, hello. All right, let us talk to this guy. I have someone here. Your name?
My name is Peter.
I have Peter. Peter what? Peter Abo. They even shot him at the leg yesterday. Peter Abo. How did you sustain this gunshot? All right. Okay, so they said we should leave here now. It's getting tense. So they said probably they don't know who is betraying them, who is not betraying them. So we're on our way out of this zone right now because they said that they are angry. And because of their anger, we need to go. So...
Ozi, is everything okay?
All right. Yeah, so we have entered into our bus and we are leaving the place right now because they are insisting that we need to go, that they don't know the people that will come and betray them or those that will not betray them. So they decided to chase us away. Though there's another set that came from where we were filming before, and then they came and said, no, we should stop filming and then we should go. So at the moment, they are having a rampage. They're having a free time. There's no law enforcement personnel here right now. So we're on our way out of this zone.
Well, we'll remain in touch with you, but please keep safe. That's very important.